want to discuss my opinion on supporting products made by people or groups that hold views in opposition to my own. I don't personally tend to support any person, corporation, or group that can directly profit from my consumption if they support views or groups that are harmful to people. If alternatives exist, then those are preferable. We'll take a quick look into why companies may change their ideas and ways they produce content, and what you as a consumer can do to influence them. Access to the internet makes discovering, sharing, and creating content easier than ever. You can also learn almost anything about a creator thanks to social media platforms. In the past, it was difficult to research the political positions a company held unless you were very up to date with the news. Let's take a look at H.P. Lovecraft. His work has been hugely influential, and no one can deny that. Just like no one should deny that he was a troubled man that held many concerning beliefs. H-Bomber did a video on adapting Lovecraft, and included sections on why people like me tend to enjoy his work, as well as going into some of the history of the man himself, so I won't bother repeating that here. The question is, why do I still read Lovecraft now? Well, it's public domain and does not financially support any group with an agenda that can cause harm, and it can be adapted in any way. I personally have stolen plot elements for stories and games I've run. I'm an avid fan of the Fantasy Flight Games Arkham Horror series. I own a complete set of the second edition of Arkham Horror. I own the spin-off digital port of their dice game Elder Sign, both on Steam and mobile platforms. These products do not benefit the estate of Lovecraft. They use ideas created by the man and those that expanded the Cthulhu mythos without a direct link. I could say at this point the Arkham Horror line of products has its own story and its own identity. But that being said, there are times when I would still prefer alternatives to his work, or even works derived from the Cthulhu mythos. As I mentioned earlier, he was vastly influential. Now that's not the same thing as being a terribly good author, but it does mean that there are scores of work in similar styles using themes created and popularized by Lovecraft. But it's easy to make the call on the works of a long-dead racist. What about a more contemporary example? Let's take a look at J.K. Rowling. One of the most popular and influential works of recent history has been Harry Potter. It has sold over 500 million books globally and is estimated to be worth about $25 billion. Many people grew up with Harry Potter as a household name. I was a fan when I was in middle school. Later on, my relationship with the series changed. I think it was around Order of the Phoenix when I started trailing off. I did end up finishing the series, mostly for momentum's sake, if nothing else. Now fast forward to June 2020. We live in a world where J.K. Rowling is explicitly voicing and supporting transphobic views. I've linked to articles from The Correspondent and Glamour, giving a complete breakdown of events, as well as viewing these events from the perspective of LGBT writers. With the success of the franchise, J.K. Rowling won't be in any dire financial straits. There is no need to empower her and add to her reach. I know that it's been a formative work for many people that grew up around me, and that tends to make breaking the connection difficult, but considering the harm that giving a platform to her views can cause, I believe it's worth thinking about. When my support of a game, product, or piece of art contributes to a group that can lead to harm or is made by people who openly tout harmful views, I choose to look for alternatives. In the world we live in, the only thing companies are interested in are sales figures and profits and losses. Giving these groups a profit-driven reason to improve is still a win even if they do not make the choice because it is technically moral. Also, I personally enjoy supporting independent creators. There are very talented people in this world, and not all of them get recognition for their work or are employed by large studios. Some corporations are already starting to become more inclusive in their hiring. A quote from McKinsey.com, our latest analyst reaffirms the strong business case for both gender diversity and ethnic and cultural diversity in corporate leadership, and shows that this business case continues to strengthen. The most diverse companies are now more likely than ever to outperform less diverse peers on profitability. Even looking at how Disney has been working to release more diverse films, we can see that a shift has been occurring. I don't care if this is because of the cynical answer of profit motivation, or if the heads of the companies actually believe in the value of diversity. What matters is that it is happening. And as more and more big names get on board, it means small companies are more likely to toe the line. Now, I believe that the enjoyment of a work that expresses ideas contrary to your beliefs is not morally wrong. I'm not even saying that you have any obligation to stop supporting these groups. I just encourage you to think about the effects of your actions and what potential consequences it broadcasts to those around you. I prefer not to support groups that directly fund hate groups or lobby for laws that hurt marginalized people. With that out of the way, let's get to the recommendations. If you like H.P. Lovecraft, I strongly suspect you will enjoy the following podcasts: Full and Scholar Productions, The White Vault, Vast Horizon, and Dark Dice. Full and Scholar Productions make fantastic, immersive narrative podcasts that involve ideas and themes both cosmic and horrible, as well as boasting a wide and diverse cast of characters that are portrayed by actors around the world. The White Vault specifically is a more inclusive and engaging version of tales like At the Mountains of Madness. Vast Horizon is a sci-fi thriller about waking up alone on a derelict ship, floating through space with nothing but an AI to assist you in survival, but spirals farther and farther into cosmic horror as the series progresses. If you like a little bit of live play, Dark Dice is a highly produced podcast where a group of adventurers set off to recover missing children from a dark forest inhabited by a creature that can steal your face, voice, and is intent on driving the adventurers insane. Next up is Old Gods of Appalachia. The Old Gods pod is about the existence of creatures, magic, and demons and how they interact with the peoples of Appalachia. The first season focuses on a single town and its woes as a sinister plot collides with a terrible accident in the local coal mines. It is deeply personal and has some of the best storytelling I've heard. My personal favorite story is The Boy. Finally, I believe it would be a mistake not to talk about the creations of Night Vale Presents. Starting with Welcome to Night Vale, this podcast presents itself as a community radio show going over events occurring in the fictional desert town of Night Vale. Usually odd and almost always entertaining, it spins Lovecraftian themes in a way by viewing it from the inside of an insular community with strange rites and conspiracies. It also focuses on presenting diverse people and includes one of the most heartfelt openly gay romances I've experienced. Alice Isn't Dead focuses on the search for Alice, the main character's wife who was reported as being dead, but appears on the news one night. Our heroine sets out on the highways of America in search of clues and finds dangerous enemies and strange entities in between the populated cities of America. In the visual medium, we have Marble Hornets. This YouTube series documents the failed student film project Marble Hornets and includes reference to a creepypasta-style entity referred to as the Operator. Its low-budget filming style as well as presentation make it fun and enjoyable experience. It also boasts a load of community engagement and a wiki that breaks down the Easter eggs hidden in each video. Also consider Pan's Labyrinth. This film was made by Guillermo del Toro, another avid fan of H.P. Lovecraft, and tells the story of a girl whose mother marries an abusive officer of the army and her journey through magical worlds to save her mother and younger brother. It's a strange mix of whimsy and horror both in the real world and the spiritual world. Honestly, I could say any of Guillermo del Toro's works are fantastic examples, and if you haven't, you should consider watching more from him. Well, I talked about a lot of alternatives to H.P. Lovecraft. What about J.K. Rowling's work? As a joke, I was going to present to you My Immortal, but the more and more I began to think about it, the more sense it made. My Immortal was made by a fan of J.K. Rowling's work, and there are plenty of works by other fans with those characters. On AO3, there are currently over 300,000 works when you search the term Harry Potter alone. Perhaps some of these folks will go on to release more works, and it would be great to see them progress from fanfiction to creating their own characters. No one exists in a vacuum, and we all have to be inspired by someone. Let's face it, I'm doing this because I started watching Sean videos a few years ago, and when he did one of his Q&A videos, he encouraged people to make content, and now I'm writing and producing videos about topics I care about. Other works I'd recommend are the Percy Jackson series. The movies really didn't do the tale justice. Also, if you're the type of person who liked Harry Potter, but haven't read Lord of the Rings or the Chronicles of Narnia, I'd give those a shot. C.S. Lewis has a lot of Christian values in his work, but they never feel preachy to me, and generally it's the best of the stuff. Like in Voyage of the Dawn Treader, when the selfish boy gets turned into a dragon, and he only goes back to being human after assisting the crew and being generally good and helpful. That's a message I can get behind. Also, Aslan, please turn me into a dragon so I can learn the error of my ways. I promise I won't enjoy it at all. That being said, C.S. Lewis did hold specific values that I disagree with. He was strongly religious and didn't believe that democracy could work without the understanding and inclusion of God or religion. He also did a lot of work that I agree with. He was surprisingly tolerant for a man of his time. As a matter of application, Lewis believed the issues of marriage, divorce, homosexuality, and religious education are not to be regulated or prohibited by government. He once wrote, "Many acts which are sins against God are also sins to our fellow citizens, and must on that account, but only on that account, be made crimes. The implication being, if the sinful act does not harm a fellow citizen, it should not be made illegal." Special thanks for this video go out to Escape Sounds for helping with the recording and editing of my audio, and to the DeadStrink Orkestra for use of their song. Thank you so much. I'll see you later.